What's up, everybody? Trad West Podcast back here with another episode. What are we going to talk about today? Let's talk about Ozempic, the plague that is Ozempic and other semaglutide drugs that is becoming very popular for people to use as a weight loss drug. So I'll pull up a couple articles that are have led to some kind of serious stuff with people. But first, let me just give my 2 cents because I knew this stuff was coming. I knew one day this would be okay, I'm in my 30s now. In my early 20s, all through my 20s actually, super gym rat, hours a day, lifting plus cardio, living in the gym. And, a lot of our population is overweight and lazy. And, I was personal trainer certified for a little bit. But it just wasn't for me. And some people would be like, how can you make money being a personal trainer? Like, who's gonna pay for that? Well, it makes money because, a lot of everyday people are just too busy. They don't have time to research health stuff. They don't have, they're working 9 to 5 jobs or they're working 12-hour shifts. They got families. It's the same thing with, like I call normies that don't really pay attention to politics, only watch the mainstream news sources, don't really get into the weeds of anything going on in society. So it's like the same type of thing. Like if fitness and working out are not your job, there's their job. A lot of people are just gonna be ignorant to it. Like, yes, you could easily go on YouTube and look up exercises and learn how to do some exercises and stuff like that. But people can't be bothered to do it. Other people will not follow through unless they are being held accountable by other people, which is, that's valid. I understand that to a certain degree. Everyone needs motivation to a certain degree. I find myself now being a little more busy with things in life. Back when I was, work 12-hour shifts, I was single, early 20s. It was basically just gym work anyways, gym work anyway, like work, gym, work, gym. Maybe I'd play some video games on an off day. Maybe I'd go out drinking with some friends, but small town and yeah, I was single. There wasn't much to do. You're gonna be working out. You're gonna be at work or working out. So I didn't need a lot of motivation then. I find myself needing a little more motivation now. But I always said people act like they don't care about being in shape or being fat, but that's just because it actually takes work, effort, and discipline to be in good shape, to lose weight, to gain muscle. One day they're going to come up with a pill or some type of drug and it's just going to melt the fat away and people are going to take it in a heartbeat, take it in a heartbeat, take it in a heartbeat. If there's a pill or an injection of something, pharmaceutical, people will take it. They want to take the easy way out. Now, before I come off as a semaglutide pharmaceutical hater, I'm not. There are certain instances where I think it's probably beneficial and more necessary. But first and foremost, let's just start with this. It's not a weight loss drug. That's what it's being used as because it has certain side effects, but it's a diabetes drug. So if you don't have diabetes, you probably shouldn't be fucking taking it, people. And like I said, I'm gonna go into some more serious stuff, but let me just give you and two, I'm getting off on a tangent here. Why I was mentioning me being super gym rat, I was in the bodybuilding community. The bodybuilding community is really leaps and bounds ahead when it comes to like nutrition and pharmacology because you can't really run studies and tests on people, especially if drugs aren't legal that are being used at the time, or, you can't just get them over the counter. But the bodybuilding community has been bodybuilders are basically use themselves as guinea pigs, whether it be anabolics, HGH, testosterone, TRT is becoming popular now. Bodybuilders have been using testosterone for decades. Um, Diuretics, various weight loss drugs, you name it. Bodybuilding community has been using a lot of them, using themselves as guinea pigs. So a lot of the bodybuilding community was already using stuff like this for some time. So I was aware, and knew it would eventually probably hit mainstream. And sure enough, it's hit mainstream. All Hollywood and they're all just hopping on it. Lizzo, how do you think she's losing all this weight? She used to, try to say, I'm I'm beautiful at this weight. Now she's like spray painting over her old self that she hated. Yeah, surprise, surprise. We knew you didn't like being super fat. But now there's a magical drug you can take and you're not super fat anymore. She's actually still pretty fat, but whatever. So, some of the side effects I knew about it already, which is why if you're taking this type of stuff, it's all about risk reward, okay? Every drug has side effects. I don't care how safe it is, they all have potential side effects. There's no 100% side effect free drug. There isn't. So, talk to your doctor, but you need to look up stuff yourself too. Because if there's one thing we learned with COVID, not all doctors are really acting in the best interest of their patients, especially when it comes to drugs. They'll just overprescribe stuff for kickbacks. Risk reward. What do I mean by that? Do you have so much weight to lose that the weight you're holding is very unhealthy, very damaging to your bones, joints, ligaments, your heart, um, that you do a cost benefit analysis? And yes, there are some negative side effects from taking this drug, but it's going to help you lose weight pretty quickly. So it's also going to be very beneficial to your overall health because it's not good to be walking around. Let's, use for instance, say someone's 300 pounds, 300 plus pounds. This is an individual that I would not have an issue with being put on Ozempic or one of these semaglutide things. They are very obese. It's probably going to be they have a lot of comorbidities and such already. There might be a good chance they're diabetic anyways, and this is a diabetes drug. And overall, even if this causes, bone loss, muscle loss, there are things you can do alongside it to help prevent this. Um, and it might be worth dealing with a little bit of that muscle loss, bone loss, if it means you're going to go from over 300 pounds to 200 pounds or 190 or whatever you get down to. It is so taxing on your body, your heart, your joints, bones, ligaments to be that heavy that in those circumstances, I think stuff like Ozempic and semaglutide can be great. Now, don't take this as a shot if you're on this stuff and you're not someone who's super obese. I get it. But again, cost benefit analysis, risk versus reward. Is it worth the potential side effects? Did your doctor actually go over the potential side effects? Have you looked into potential side effects? Because I already knew about the muscle loss, bone loss. Like people were saying, oh my, I lost 50 pounds already. as if they just lost all fat. You're not. You're losing a little bit of everything. And maybe you don't care about that. I do. I'm a bit of a superficial guy. I like having muscles and looking a little muscular, okay? So I don't wanna be taking anything that's gonna be eating my muscles away, and then you're losing bone density, potentially. So, no matter what, if you're on these types of drugs, you should be doing some form of resistance training, strength training with weights, preferably. If you don't got weights, at least something that's gonna be a muscle building, push-ups, pull-ups, squats, you name it. This will at least help fight back against, muscle loss, bone loss side effects. If you're a man, maybe you look into being on TRT because a little extra testosterone, that's going to help with that loss as well, preventing that loss as well if you're more in an anabolic state. And that is just what I recommend for anybody that's going to be trying to hop on these miracle weight loss drugs like Ozempic and other forms of semaglutide. Then I'll just say you should just stop being lazy, eat better, and work out. I'm human. I go through struggles with it as well now. Like I said, I got to motivate myself a lot more than I used to have to. But at the end of the day, it's not that difficult. It just takes discipline. It's mainly up here. Like everyone acts like it's a physical thing. Unless you're just super obese, the physicality thing is a non issue. You'd be surprised what your body can achieve physically once you get this on straight. So I deal with it too, you know. Um, sometimes I want to have a few beers. I know that's not great for me. I know I'm gonna feel bloated afterward. And when I'm drinking beer pretty often, my stomach looks a little extended and bloated. So I have to use self control. Now, as I've stated in other videos, I am not like a 365, 24/7, gotta be fit, fit, fit. I like to indulge as well. I usually spread it out like 6 months being kind of good, 6 months, yeah, let's lax it up and, football season. I like to have some beers and watch football. Okay. So you don't got to be, super strict, but it's really not that difficult. It's more of a mental thing. And I really urge people if you're more than 50 pounds overweight, maybe you got a good enough reason to hop on these types of things. But please look up the side effects. Because like I said, I'm just talking about like the muscle loss and bone loss was enough of a side effect for me to say, yeah, no, thank you, would not be interested. There's some super serious stories coming out that I'm going to get into in a little bit here. But just please, 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 if you're gonna hop on these types of drugs to lose weight, or, if you're diabetic still, do your due diligence, look up ways, working out, lifting weights, maybe other pharmaceuticals, like I said, TRT, testosterone for men, where you can kind of combat the negative side effects of muscle loss, bone loss. Because, yeah, if you're younger, you might not notice it now, but once you get a little older and you already got osteoporosis, you're kind of screwed. So, weigh your risk reward. If you're less than 50 pounds overweight, you can just hop on a low no carb diet, do some exercise, and within 3 to 6 months, let's say if you're 50 pounds, let's say no, let's 30 to 40 pounds overweight. If you are even not even religiously sticking to your diet, but for the most part, you're on a good diet, low no carb. you're exercising, 3 to 5 times a week, um, you're eating pretty well, but you're still having cheat meals here and there, you can lose 30 to 40 pounds definitely within 6-month time frame. And then if you really wanna get strict, um, you could probably do it in 3 months. My most successful lean out, granted, I don't think it was no 40 or 50 pounds, but I used to do like the dirty bulk in the winter so I could have an excuse to eat whatever the hell I wanted and then lean out so I'd look better in the summer. And a good strict 12 to 16 weeks was usually all I needed to get down to my like optimal weight. So 6 months should definitely be more than enough time. Um, Even if, like I said, you're not being super, super strict. But then you got to go and do your due diligence on, exercises and diet and portion control. You got to learn. That's mainly what these drugs are doing for people. It's just making you not hungry or you can't barely, it like teaches you portion control. But part of the reason I think people are like having muscle loss in that, I don't think you're eating enough in a lot of the cases when you're on this. Like, I know some people who have been on them and they like have to force themselves to eat. I understand that too, just from a bodybuilding perspective back in the day. Forcing yourself to eat meals when you're not even hungry sucks. So I get that struggle, but please as well, if you're on this type of drug and let's say you're like, oh, I'm not hungry, but all I've had today was a yogurt, please make yourself eat. Go get some protein powder, slam some protein shakes. That way they're quick and easy to get down and digest. Something, because that's not going to be overall healthy or good for you to be like starving yourself, even if you feel fine and you're not hungry. So let's go over some of the overall just basic side effects, common side effects, Ozempic and other semaglutide. Nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, stomach pain, constipation, upset stomach, heartburn, burping, gas, bloating, loss of appetite. Well, that's a positive one, but runny nose or sore throat, stomach flu, symptoms are headache, dizziness, tiredness, low blood sugar, in people with type 2 diabetes. So those are the basics. And I already mentioned bone loss and muscle loss. Now, blindness. This is one that's one of these bigger stories. Somebody was saying it caused them to go blind. This is rare, but serious risk of potential blindness. So let me share screen here for a couple articles I'm going to pull up. Got this one. Evidence is growing that Ozempic can cause blindness. And people, there's a lot of people on these drugs, like semaglutide of any form. Like Ozempic is like the big name one, but any of these semaglutides, diabetes drugs. But let's see. Last year, Harvard scientists found a troubling link between semaglutide and the active ingredient in Ozempic and a blindness causing condition known as, and I'm probably going to butcher this, but NAION for short, non-arteritic anterior ischemic optic neuropathy. That I word there. That one threw me off. But anyways, which is essentially the stroke of an eye. So your eye has a stroke. Researchers suggest that people who take semaglutide are between 4 and 7 times as likely to develop NAION as those who don't take it. So that's like on the Google search, the AI says it's rare, but I mean, this seems pretty significant if they're suggesting people who take it are between 4 and 7 times more likely than don't take it. I mean, that seems like another reason not to take it. And again, like, I didn't know about the whole blindness thing. I knew about bone loss and muscle loss, which like I said, was enough for me to be not interested. But if you're someone who doesn't is severely overweight and you don't really care about muscles and that, yeah, you might not give a damn. But University of Utah researchers detailed the stories of several people who took their semaglutide, who developed eye conditions, NAION, and a few others that can cause partial or temporary blindness. Researchers looked into the cases of 9 patients, 7 who developed the NAION, 1 case of an optic nerve inflammation disorder called uh, papillitis, and another paracentral acute middle maculo maculopathy, PAM for short, which causes a literal blind spot in your vision, who reported the issues soon after beginning to take the drugs. Researchers note all but one of the study subjects had a history of type 2 diabetes and rapid drops in blood sugar like those that occur when taking drugs like Ozempic and Mounjaro, which belong to a class of medications, glucagon like peptide 1, GLP-1 inhibitors, that make those who take them feel fuller faster, has been linked to papillitis and could be similar for NAION. As far as why, one possibility is that the drugs could have caused hypoglycemia or low blood sugar. And while lowering blood sugar is the goal of diabetes medication, some patients may be overshooting, so dropping blood sugar too drastically. Theory is that the drugs themselves aren't making the people develop blindness, causing illnesses, but the rapid drop in blood sugar may well be. So, yeah, that's the fancy way of saying, well, it's not like the drug itself, but it's the side effect of the drug that caused the issue. So, if you weren't taking the drug, you wouldn't have had the side effect. So, that was one of the more serious ones. And then we'll go to this actress who, again, already knew about the muscle loss, bone loss, but Ozempic left me with deadly bone thinning disease. Singer Avery, 30, reveals in heartbreaking confession, please don't make the same mistake. So singer Avery has told of her shock at discovering she has a debilitating bone thinning disease after taking Ozempic for just a year. So that's pretty quickly. I imagine a lot of people are going to be on it for at least a year, maybe longer. But in a tearful Instagram post, the 30-year-old from Phoenix, Arizona, admitted she took the weight loss drug after struggling with an eating disorder. Admitting in another video she was dropped by her record label for being too fat. She added, I thought I needed Ozempic to be beautiful and successful. Now, if I never heard of this person, so maybe she's not big enough to have a lot of money, but a lot of Hollywood and that's hopping on stuff like this. Granted, they got a lot of money. They're probably taking proper cautions to fight against a lot of the side effects. But if you got a bunch of money, you got access to some of the best personal trainers and nutritionists. Let's stop being lazy, okay? There's no excuse. You get access to good doctors that can subscribe some good pharmaceuticals that aren't like this, that are going to aid in a fitness journey. And there's no excuse for you to just be hopping on this easy way out type stuff. And there's a lot of drugs already out there, like like supplements that you just get from like a supplement store on Amazon that already like curb your appetite suppressants, like yohimbine. I've known about that for years. I take it from time to time. It's just an oral supplement that basically curbs cravings and suppresses your appetite. Like if I take 1 or 2 in the morning, I could go all day without eating. Like usually I fast all day at work when I'm on it, and I'm not like sitting there super hungry or anything. So there's already, again, supplements can have side effects too. So take it with a grain of salt, but it definitely isn't going to be causing bad side effects like this type of stuff. And it's not an injection you got to do, just a freaking supplement capsule you take. So let's see. Where did I leave off? The injections are designed to help type 2 diabetes patients and obese people control their blood sugar levels to lose weight. But research has suggested the jabs could lead to brittle bones, with experts urging people who are vulnerable to fractures against using them. Around 500,000 Britons are now thought to be using the medication, which can help them lose up to 20% of their body weight in just a few months. Key word here, up to 20% of their body weight, not up to 20% of the fat they have. 20% of their body weight. So this isn't just going to be fat, people. So again, I already kind of warned of that. But the more serious stuff, there's people that are developing blindness, um, osteoporosis, bone thinning diseases. Like I said, I mentioned make sure you're working out, resistance training, strength training. If you're going to be on drugs like this, do your due diligence, research stuff. Don't just take a doctor's word for it. But yes, also consult a doctor. I don't know again, some doctors are just basically glorified pharmacologists that are just pushing pills, pushing pharmaceuticals. Um, so take it with a grain of salt. I personally know some people that said they were told they didn't qualify for the injections. So I know some doctors are at least being picky. Um, but again, I know others that take the stuff and I didn't think they looked that overweight. I think 6 months of them eating better and exercising, they could have had the same results without taking it. So I hope that they don't experience any of the bad side effects that are out there, especially this blindness and osteoporosis type stuff. So people out there, I'm not 100% saying Ozempic and semaglutide type things bad. Don't take them. It's all about risk versus reward. If you're super obese, maybe it's a good idea, and overall the risk is worth taking. But if you're someone who's like 50 pounds or less overweight, come on, just look into better eating habits, exercise, and if you got a little extra money, maybe look into hiring a personal trainer or nutritionist because some people are going to do better if they're held accountable by somebody. Or, they just don't have the time of day, much like, I'm sitting here calling them lazy because they just want to take the easy way out, get an injection. They hire personal trainers because then it takes all the thinking away from them. They just, hey, this person tells me what to eat. This person tells me what to exercise. I do it. I reap rewards and results. So be careful out there. There's a time and a place for, semaglutide and these Ozempic type things. But if you're someone who's less than 50 pounds overweight, I strongly urge against it. And for you to just get some discipline, get some mental toughness, and exercise and eat better because your body and overall health will thank you in the long run. So we're probably going to end this one here. This was something I was thinking about talking about for a little bit, but then I saw those stories about like super serious side effects happening, and I was like, okay, yeah, it would be good. And I know of at least 5 people relatively close to me that are on stuff like this. And like I said, I don't that none of them were obese. So I didn't think they really needed to be. Just my personal opinion, but again, that's coming from someone who was ex gym rat and knows the hard work and discipline it takes to, you know, grind and lose the weight that way. So, everybody, make sure you like, subscribe, follow, comment. Hopefully, I get better at religiously uploading videos, but I got a new setup if you can't tell, and a new flag there. And I think the new setup looks a little better. A little bigger desk, the lights in a different place. It's not glaring on the dark MAGA hat now, so I was actually thinking about not wearing this one because it was getting very. The light was blinding people, if you will. But yeah, I think the setup looks a little better. Slowly trying to change things and get better. Like, follow, subscribe. Till next time, Shred West Podcast out.